Hey everybody, welcome to our presentation. My name is Glenn Hausman. You might know me from No Vacancy Live and No Vacancy News, which you see every single day on the internet at noon Eastern Standard Time. Also, I'm a co-author of this book, The Adapters, which I wrote along with Sean Worker. And I'm very excited because in that book, we talk about gutsy genius thinkers. We talked about folks that are adapting and innovating, the ones that are making big differences now in order to help our future. And that is kind of the theme of what we're talking about today. And I got two gutsy genius thinkers here today, thinking about things differently, reinventing the way that we do things that we thought were sacrosanct in our incredible business over here. And they're changing things up. So let me bring in our two guests today. I have Mr. Eric Eisenberg. He's the VP of Hospitality with Pure Land. Welcome aboard, Eric. Great to see you.
Thank you so much. Great to be here, Glenn.
All right, let me do this because we were virtual today. And Mr. Lloyd Major, CEO and co-founder of Halo Solutions. Welcome, Lloyd.
Hi there. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Sorry, gotta have a little bit of fun with these kinds of things. So, gentlemen, so great to see you here today. I thought maybe the best place for us to start off before we get into innovation, before we get into adoption, before we get into specifics about what your projects are, maybe you could just share with us a quick understanding of what your companies are all about. Lloyd, let's start with you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. So our business is all about providing software for control rooms in the main. So these can be control rooms in the hospitality and leisure industry, for example, sports stadia, music arenas, and businesses ranging from anything like Notting Hill Carnival in London to the Royal Navy and several sports stadia and arenas, just replacing spreadsheets which are untrustworthy, unclogging those radio channels that are full of information so we can't get emergencies in, and also replacing those WhatsApp groups which we can't use later on at court when we need to.
Excellent. Well, Eric, that's interesting. Now you do something a wee bit different.
Completely different.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you guys are up to.
So at Pure Land, we've taken a completely different track. We offer a paradigm shifting break with conventional bed linens. Something the standard everyday cotton sheet is not what we do. Our bed linen solution offers guests the opportunity to never sleep on communal sheets again. One time for one guest. Sheets are never reused. They're hypoallergenic. They're soft, pH balanced. Contain no bleach, detergents, chemicals.
Yep.
Our zero waste, zero laundry system saves millions of gallons of water and wastewater each year. And our sheets are designed for comfort. They're equivalent to about a 600 or 800 thread count sheet, and it's 100% recyclable.
Wow. And that is what's really cool. Now, this is new and different, something I've never seen before. In fact, Eric, I've been around in this business 26, 27 years now. You can tell by all the gray hair that I'm getting here. I've been around for a little while, and I haven't seen something this different in such a long time. Where does this idea come from to just really reinvent things? We'll get into the specifics, guys, in a few minutes about specifically how this comes together. It's really fascinating, but no one's ever sat around a campfire and go, how can we save money? Oh, let's have disposable linen.
Well, our founder, Rich Farrell, is a lifelong hotelier, and through the trials and tribulations of all of our hotel lives, we see opportunities, and to really be able to think of something that truly tips the daily routine on its ear is an opportunity that really is something we love to talk about. All the hotels now have approached a green forward initiative.
Yep.
and really have picked the low hanging fruit. Everyone has low flow toilets, and everybody has low flow shower heads and LED bulbs, and they've adjusted their landscaping and done all those little things that are easy, that have become easy. Now it's time for the hard stuff. Now it's time for the hard decisions to say, especially here in Las Vegas where I am, we have a water crisis. And a lot of other communities, not just desert communities, but California, Florida, even the remote far edges of our hospitality community have a water issue and clean water issue. What better way to save that water than to not do laundry? And we provide that opportunity. You know, our sheets are 100% recyclable. They're maintained in a closed loop system, so they're created created with man-made fabrics, put on hotel beds, stripped away, and then recycled. So there's no water. There's for the water that's used, you know, to create one queen size cotton sheet is around 2,600 gallons of water just to create one sheet. To create one Purelin sheet is about a little less than a gallon. So it really is, and that's just the creation of it. To launder it and to maintain it.
To wash it, a single sheet one time.
To washing is in the tens of millions of gallons because of your par levels, because of the constant use. You know, how many times, you know, from a hotelier standpoint, do you have guests that are upset that their bed linens are dirty or perceived dirty, or they have a smell, or they just don't, they're ripped? Our sheets come perfect every time. They're folded. They don't require any pre-washing, pre-laundering, pre-treatment. Right out of the hypoallergenic pH balance package onto the bed, off the bed into a similar package that is completely we call it melted, but you know, it goes into a giant recycle pelletizer that reduces, you know, it's low on a carbon footprint standard, reduces the sheets to a liquid that turns back around into the fabric that we use. So it's truly a unique opportunity, you know, to bolster your green initiatives, to bolster your water conservation and sustainability efforts, and to think differently.
I got some more questions on that, but I want to turn to Lloyd for a second. Lloyd, you're CEO and founder of Halo. So where you seek inspiration, how did this idea come to be? And, you know, tell us a little bit more about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So very tragically, 22 people died at the Manchester Arena bombing over here when we had the Ariana Grande concert in 2016. And I was head of tactical support at the National Counterterrorism Unit at the time, and that gave me a unique insight into some of the problems that people were having, particularly around those communications. And as the public inquiry has come to a conclusion, the results of which are published in 10 days' time, we have come to learn that as a direct result for at least a couple of those deaths, that it was the blockage of the communications on the ground. Nobody could really say exactly where the casualties were, who needed to move through the hot zone to get to them, and how that was managed. So that gave us an insight into, well from the incident in 2017, into the Halo system and how it can help. And we're really proud to say that as of today, we've saved 4 lives and protected over 10 million people, and we've won 8 awards. So it's been a really busy last couple of years. Even with the coronavirus pandemic, we've had to innovate so that you know, sporting events and festivals and music arenas were all closed. So this is where we're now opening up our software to support the hotel and leisure industry, and to support hospitals and businesses in a broad range of features.
So Lloyd, how does this actually work? Yeah, I'm thinking music festivals and stuff. And from my point of view, Lloyd, I'm just there to have a good time. I'm partying. I'm not worried about security and stuff you're doing.
Well,
you mentioned earlier, like you know, spreadsheets and stuff like that. So yeah. I'm confused. I just want to have a good time and make sure that you guys have all the tools to keep people safe.
So just for fun, what was the last event you went to?
What was the last event I went to? You know, it's such a long time ago. The last real fun thing I went to was Fish concert, Madison Square Garden, December 30th, 2019.
Cool. Okay, so you're at Madison Square Gardens and you've gone there with a friend. Let's call Let's call him Steve.
That is his name, for real.
So let's say you lose Steve and you go up to a steward. He or she is wearing a bright high-vis yellow jacket, and you say, "Hey, I've lost my friend Steve." Mm-hmm. So what happens is that steward then has to get on the radio if there's a gap, if nobody's talking rubbish. They get on the radio and they report it to the control room, and they say, "Hey, Steve's missing," and they'll give a description of Steve. They may well write that into a spreadsheet and then repeat it for everyone else to hear, and there might be another 400 stewards. At the same time as there are probably 10, 20 slip, strips, or falls, a couple of other missing people. Right. If there's a fight, that will dominate the radio, so no one can really get anything done until that fight's been resolved. Right. So you have a backlog of communications, and so radio was invented around 150 years ago, and all we've done since is add more radio channels. So you'll have a security channel, a cleaning channel, a traffic man, and hospitality. And then to supplement the radio channels, all we've really done is add WhatsApp groups. So what happens with the Halo system is you go up to the steward and say, "Hey, I've lost my friend Steve." Right. And the steward gets out a device, either provided by us or used by them. We do integrated radios and mobile phones, cell phones. And they take the device out and say, "Have you got a photo of Steve?" "Yeah. Here's his Facebook, Twitter profile. I've got a picture of me and him that I took outside." Take a photo of a photo, share it straight away with 400 people. So now everyone can look for Steve and they can see him. Right. And if there's another 3 people missing at the same time, and they're all of a similar description, if you go to a Manchester United football match, you're going to come across 20,000 white guys who may or may not have no hair and a red t-shirt on.
It's the same thing with the concerts I go to, a similar profile of people.
And the research tells us that on average, people can do 7 things at once, plus or minus 2. And the research also shows that in a crisis, you have a memory capacity of about 30 seconds. So during steady state, if we're already overwhelmed with 5 or 6 radio channels, 2 or 3 different WhatsApp groups, and a spreadsheet that we need to fill in, our capacity to do things, even when there are multiple small incidents taking place, you then forget about them. Steve's one of 50 things that are taking place at any one time is going to get forgotten about. Right. And we automate the whole lot.
That is pretty awesome. All right. So now I totally get it. Makes a whole lot of sense. It's and again, both of your companies and both of these ideas are really incredible because they take something that should be obvious, but has been elusive all this time until you somehow figured it all out. Eric, I want to get back to you a little bit. He's got a really cool product at Halo. You've got a really cool product at PureLin. So what really are hoteliers thinking when you bring this to them? How do you present an idea that's so different, something that they're not used to at all, and get them to really understand it clearly so that they get on board?
Yeah, so it has been so well received in concept. Everybody loves the idea of non-communal linen, something that I'm not, if you talk to your granny, if you talk to your best friend, if you talk to the hotel manager down the street, they love the idea of having non-communal linen, that they're the only ones to sleep on that sheet, and then to know that it, not only that, it gets recycled. Right. Love it. But when it comes to the discussion of a different finance model, that's where the challenge comes up. And I explained that, I said it's not apples to apples by any means. It's not you're spending X for your laundry services now. We will seamlessly walk in and take care of everything. That's not really how it works, because when you think of replacing or adjusting what you spend on services, with laundry, you'd have to take out all the water cost, all the wastewater cost, all the labor cost, all the power cost, all the chemicals, all the transportation. That's a huge number, and every hotel is different. A lot of hoteliers, they look at their P&L every week, or every week, every day, every week, and they just see that big energy number, that big gas number, and they don't know the point of which their housekeeping or laundry department is generating that compared to that number.
Right.
So when you peel away all those layers and you say, well, now we have the opportunity to save on labor. We have the opportunity to in a tight labor market to say, well, let's reallocate somebody instead of having 2 shifts on laundry on day and swing. Let's have just a day shift. Let's reduce all the water that we use, all the chemicals that are going back into the environment. Then when you look at that number that you reduce to say, all right, so now, instead of spending $75 or so on a cotton set of sheets, we can spend $12 on a Purelin sheet set. That makes it more compelling. That introduces a more compelling conversation. And okay, wait a second. So it is a single guest use, but I don't have to worry about damage. I don't have to worry about someone claiming that they have bed bugs or they have allergic reaction or they have all these different oddities that guests normally complain about. And it takes care of all the issues, all my expenses, it really is, like I said, it's a compelling conversation. And it will definitely take the forethought of an innovative hotelier to drop these into their wellness rooms, into their spa rooms, especially here in Las Vegas with resort fees and upcharges and all those different things. It's an easy add to those different upsells. So, from an operations standpoint, I always say, you can add, you create a spa package or a wellness package around these sheets. You're already charging $50 more for a bigger bottle of water and, unlimited Wi-Fi, and you get to go to the spa. Tuck in these sheets, and it's a no-brainer, and people will get used to the uniqueness of the single guest use.
Yeah. And in this particular context, remember the guest is not price sensitive, they're value sensitive. And by rolling something like this into your program, you're creating that extra special value that sets people apart. And Eric, the other thing I really like about this is, all of these other expenses that are removed from it that we aren't commonly thinking about. So I could see why you need to spend a little time connecting the dots, but I bet a lot of light bulbs go off as soon as you do that, right? So Lloyd, taking it over to you, we got a question from the audience. As the world is undergoing a major shift, do you think we need to think more globally or locally? And then how does your thoughts about your products and stuff like that maybe fit into that type of routine?
Okay, I think there are pros and cons to both. So from some of our clients, for example, will have a global footprint like ASM Global. So hundreds of stadia, shopping malls, football, soccer stadiums, arenas around the world. And it would make sense for them to have a lined up procurement process and joined up systems and the same method of operation across the board. So they've got a deep insight at the strategic level where they can really turn data into knowledge and start doing that trend analysis to drive performance and improve the bottom line. But then when you get into the granular detail at the local level, some of those venues have a really strong connection to their local communities. They have a lot of heart and soul there. They're a big employer. They will want the ability to strike out on their own and have deals which might be carbon negative. They might support a local charity. So they need some flexibility. So I think that when I sit on panels sometimes and get asked questions like this, I think I pivot to an area of strength where I say that I think irrespective of what the approach might be, if people remember to listen and to be flexible in their approaches, they can get the best balance of both worlds. So I don't know if it's a supply chain question and we're looking at sustainability and reducing carbon footprints, then being local will always be good. So you don't have those massive global supply chains and the delivery impact that they contribute to. But for us as a business, we have a relatively light carbon footprint. In fact, actually, we went carbon neutral in 2018, and then in 2019 went one step further to be carbon negative. And last year, we reached all the way back to 2014 to offset all the carbon since we were first created. So it was not a particularly expensive thing to do, but something that we felt was important for us to do. And I suppose, depending on what the audience member was thinking, if it was a sustainability question, then that would be my view on that.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting because depending on what the topic is, you do need to think globally, or you need to think locally in that regards. We have another question from the audience. I'll give it the answer first, and then you guys, if you don't mind jumping in, if you want to answer it, which is the only reason why I'm going to take this one first, because it's a little tricky. Where's the enterprise level innovation that improves staff retention and hire, a current issue in the hospitality industry? So guys, I just happened to come off a show that I did today on No Vacancy Live, which of course airs at 12 p.m. Eastern time. We had on Harris Rosen. For those of you who don't know, he's an iconic hotelier. He owns 8 hotels down in the Orlando area, about 6,700 rooms over there. But what makes him different is that he really takes care of his employees and their families in a real and meaningful way. And it's made all the difference to his company and to how people stick around. Today's interview wasn't about how awesome it was. It was about how much money he saved. He saved over $450 million over the last 30 years because he created his own health clinic, the Rosen Medical Center, and his own insurance that went along with it, reducing the cost to insure every single employee by more than 50%. Not only that, but because everything is essentially free for the employees, they get that preventative care. They take care of themselves in a meaningful way. They pay for 2 communities in the area for preschool for everyone. He sent thousands of kids to college. These are the types of things that have made a difference. These are the types of things that give him the lowest turnover rate in the entire hospitality industry, right? So he's saving a ton of money by not having to replace staff while improving everybody's lives and saving a ton of money just on health costs alone. So that is an innovation. That is something that we should be talking about. And Eric, it goes back to what you were saying, all of those hidden costs, right? For every employee that doesn't quit, you don't have to spend $4,500 or whatever it is to replace that employee. So he saved that $450 million and tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars more, not having to replace people. So I love that you guys are thinking differently. Now that to me is real innovation, Eric, where you can bring in all these other things that people didn't think about and really help their bottom line. How do you see that?
Oh, and that's completely right. You know, it's the point of difference that the hospitality innovators that will make in the future, to set them apart. You know, whether it's the way that they handled the pandemic, you know, from start to current to future, to the way that they're handling their business model. You can't. The thing that we learned, all of us, is that it is a different 365 days ago, completely different world. So if you're doing things the same way you did 365 plus days ago, you're already behind, and that's what we're trying to you know, both on the innovation side, but also on the reality side. To your point, you know, in employee retention, to the question, you have to do things different. You have to be able to revise your standard model, your standard of business, to make things better. You don't want to make things worse because they're pretty darn bad as it is now. But you know, you want to, you know, you open up, you know, your thought process, consider alternatives, whether it's you know, laundry from Purelin, or whether it's staffing, or you know, your average, you know, pay rates, or your insurance, or, you know, the things that the flexible schedules. There has to be some movement and latitude, and knowledge and that we've learned.
Yeah, Lloyd, you know, one of the ways that I can see that you are working for helping companies with staff retention and stuff is through your training division, right? My guess is that if you empower people with knowledge and insight, they feel better in their jobs and they're more likely to stick around. How do you see it?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And they feel safer in what they do. I think the current climate will be really interesting as over here we, fingers crossed, emerge from the coronavirus restrictions and return to sporting events, festivals, and arenas. And we were back in 2019, probably about 15% short of security staff, particularly over holiday weekends around August and summertime. So it was really difficult to make sure all the slots were filled with all the people that had the right skills. And now we've had a year or two of all of those really valuable members of staff not being able to work in that industry. They've moved towards security guarding at vaccine sites, at hospitals. Some of them have taken up jobs as delivery drivers for different companies, online food delivery, etc. And it'll be interesting to see if we can encourage them to return to the industry to keep us all safe when we go back to work. So it's not just staff retention in the sense that that fabulous chap who owns those hotels has been able to achieve, and what a wonderful achievement that is, but also staff migration and staff mobility, people coming in at the entry level and getting promoted and feeling rewarded and being able to move up. So a lot of our training is around, okay, great, you might be a security guard, but you want to be a security supervisor, then you might want to be in command, make command decisions, you need command training, to be all of those things. So we can really feel the value of being in the workplace.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Guys, believe it or not, our time is almost up today. So we got to go to some closing thoughts before I wrap this bad boy up. Lloyd, your final thought, and then we'll go to Eric.
Oh, okay. I guess really to resonate on what Eric was saying about that requirement on the industry to sometimes invest to save, and looking at all of those hidden costs and pulling everything together and realizing that for us at least, the paper trail, the planning, the preparation, all of that can be digitized, and the savings that digital help can provide, and listening to what people need in order to bring about that effective change to transform the culture and transform the industry to provide that digital safety.
Right. And that is absolutely essential. I think what you're really talking about, Lloyd, is something that I've been talking about for years, rethinking conventional thinking. Just because people think one way, and it always seems to be that way, there's lots of opportunities to rethink everything and all the different pieces that you're doing in your business to help engage your employees, to help you move your company forward, to help you make more money. Eric, any final thoughts from you, sir?
In the immortal words of Elon Musk, it's only crazy until it's not.
Right.
And with thinking differently and trying to push the boundaries of conservation, sustainability, and green initiatives, we are an easy choice that takes care of a big swath of water consumption, and to be able to be included in that conversation is such an opportunity that really furthers the goal of not just what conservation and green initiatives, but guest satisfaction and hospitality. I think looking 20, 25 years in the future, these are the conversations that will be changing the future of our industry, not just today and tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely right. These two gentlemen are with companies that understand innovation. They understand that sometimes you have to make big bets and think differently in order to find success. Think about the real lives that Lloyd's company has saved by changing the way that things were always said that this is the way we do them. But no, that wasn't good enough for him. He innovated. He got into there. Eric, your company taking a concept that nobody ever thought of before, putting the dots together and creating a brand new product that's super consumer friendly, that saves money and also happens to save the environment at this exact same time. Wow, how cool is that? It's so important that you guys take a moment after this, go connect with Eric, go connect with Lloyd. You can find them in the main page. schedule an appointment with them, learn more about what they're doing. I want to thank you all for being here today. What a great session this was. I'll be back here tomorrow for another one of these innovative sessions. I'm having so much fun learning along with you. Big thanks over to the Innofac show for having us all participate. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.